Welcome to the Earth Goodwill Project. This video covers events of 2020 to 2021 from a spiritual perspective, and also discusses the portal openings on the 8/8 Gateway portal opening, the 11/11 and 12/12 portal openings that have been opened up across Mother Earth, and how these portals will affect humanity over the next 2,137 years moving forward. So thank you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our channel. If you like this content, please subscribe and like it. Thank you. Key themes over the past 2 years have been discernment, activating one's throat chakra, and healing sexual wounds from one's lifetime and ancestral lines, as well as activating the heart chakra and opening the crown chakra to bring in the new energies over the rest of your lifetime and moving forward over the coming few thousand years. With themes moving forward, it's important to heal oneself first, and then your family, your community, region, nation, continent, and then focus on healing all of Mother Earth, all human beings and sentient beings across Mother Earth. There's also a renewed focus on taking action in the real world rather than the internet. So it's fantastic to have an internet platform and have subscribers and followers and engage with people online and be fantastic in the social media space or the mainstream media space. However, at the end of the day, spiritual leadership is about taking action in the real world, in your local communities, in your family, and living your truth and being a person of goodwill, treating people with respect the same way that you expect to be treated, and helping the most vulnerable and disadvantaged in society where you can. Also, part of the golden law is to practice kindness and treat people with respect the same way that you expect to be treated. Another one of the key themes over the last 2 years is the importance of speaking your truth and unblocking one's throat chakra, whether it's been unblocked for the last 1 or 2 years or since a trauma in your childhood or in your adult life, and speaking your truth for and speaking up as a voice for the people that don't have voices or have too much fear to speak out at this point in time. Also, with the theme of truth, if you can't expect to receive the truth if you lie in your life or lie all the time, and this is a message that is particularly relevant for people in the social media space. If you're going to be having a social media platform and you have followers, then it's important to tell the truth. If you don't know what the truth is, i.e. what was the cause of this virus floating around the world and so on, and who was responsible and so on, then you shouldn't be speaking at all. And if you don't know the truth about the child sex abuse or whatever corruption scandals that are going on in your local community or local country, then don't speak about it. Don't mislead and deceive people, and then you won't be misled and deceived. If you speak the truth, you'll never have mental health problems. People that lie and distort and manipulate facts all the time, the karmic repercussions are mental illness. People that lie consistently on a daily basis, year after year, the karmic repercussions of that are schizophrenia and personality disorders. So the moral of the story is speak the truth, and if you speak the truth consistently, day in, day out, eventually you'll get the truth back in one form or another, whether that will come through whistleblowers, whether that will come through coming across an obscure web page which has the information that you need, or a book that you find in a bookstore, or from spirit. Sometimes spirit will download the information that you need, and it might be something that no one else on the planet has ever heard before, and if you consistently speak the truth, you'll be consistently given new leading edge and cutting edge information and technologies that no one else on the planet has access to. So speak the truth. Now, with the Christ consciousness, it has to return to Earth. Christ consciousness has been planted back on Earth formally in different sacred ceremonies, at different PowerPoints in Australia, with some people of goodwill in the spiritual community during the 11/11 and 12/12 portals, so exactly 11/11 and 12/12 time frames, and that was activated deeply into the core of Mother Earth with assistance from the Indigenous mobs of Australia, both here on Earth and in the celestial planes. Now this Christ consciousness has been spread out across Melbourne, Victoria and Australia with a lot of help from the animal kingdom, the bird kingdom, the marine kingdom. So we co-opted them to spread the light out, and they've carried it across all the waterways, the river systems, across all of the winds, the air systems, and across Mother Earth to every continent of Mother Earth. So it's slowly spreading across Mother Earth. In Australia we had lockdowns and the borders were locked. We couldn't get into certain parts of Australia like Western Australia and Northern Territory, so we had to engage our friends in the animal kingdom and the bird and marine kingdom to help us spread that, and the winds and the water systems to help spread that light across Mother Earth. So many thousands of people that I've spoken to over the last 2 months have picked up on this energy, this shift in consciousness, and they describe it as a love vibe. And particularly the younger generations, they pick up on this love vibe and they travel around in the protest movements talking about the love vibe, spreading the love vibe. So they're very in tune with this love vibe that is being spread across Mother Earth, particularly across Australia at this time. And the Christians, funnily enough, they pick up on it and they talk about Jesus Christ being returned to earth and Christ consciousness being returned to earth, and they walk around in the protests and throughout society and is talking about this. So it doesn't matter how you interpret it, this energy, it has returned to earth and it is spreading slowly across Mother Earth. And we're doing our best to send it out to different parts of the world, like across Europe and what have you, America that needs it, to help transition this change. The reason why Australia was chosen as a central point is because it was destined, and also because part of the Australian landmass resides on part of the old Lemuria. Basically it was destined to happen in Melbourne, Australia. That's why a lot of spiritual leaders and spiritual aspirants came to Australia over the last 20 years. And this is what they've told me and many other people, that they felt the need to come and be part of this. And it's going to grow and grow every month and every year and every decade. During this 8-8 portal, we activated, during the Lionsgate portal in 2021, we activated people's, particularly light workers and starseeds, spiritual gifts, and that was sent out across to all light workers across the planet for free, regardless of their capacity to understand and interpret this energy and this transmission. And we're receiving feedback from a lot of psychologists and a lot of counsellors and psychiatrists and energy healers and natural therapists and doctors and nurses and what have you, who are having new clients come into their practices confused about why they have these strange new gifts, and they don't know if they're going crazy. No, they're not going crazy. They've just had their light bodies activated. The spiritual gifts that every person has received has been tailored individually to each person. So whatever they're karmically entitled to receive in this life, based on their past life teachings and training and work and life experiences and their ancestral lines and the goodwill and the good karma that they've accrued in this lifetime, that has been activated and it's sitting in there in the crown chakra. It cannot be stolen by anyone. If it is stolen by someone, there'll be severe karmic repercussions and it'll be given back to the person that it was stolen from. If you do work in the health or the medical field or the psychological field, or are a natural therapist or an energy healer or a spiritual practitioner, I would encourage you to tell everyone in your local community and even your subs online in your online communities that yes, these gifts that you're experiencing, like telepathy and levitation and feeling energy, seeing energy, clairvoyance, multi-dimensional time shifting, I'm coming across all different types of gifts that I haven't seen anyone on earth possess. Some very strange ones about shifting time and other people in time traveling. So everyone's having different gifts. A lot of them are healing gifts. Mostly it's telepathy and clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient type gifts. The basic stuff that all spiritual practitioners have. These spiritual gifts were activated and downloaded for all light workers across the planet because we need more earth angels to help wake up and actively engage in light work across the planet. Hopefully engage in alternative healing modalities over the next 5 to 10 to 20 years to help people transition during the beginning of the Aquarian age. And it's not fair really for the older light workers to do all of the light work themselves because they run off their feet working 12, 16 hours a day, helping shift this energy, and it is a lot of work, and it can be quite draining if you're doing, you know, this intense work like 7 days a week. So this is why we brought on board millions, hundreds of millions more light workers to come into the light and understand what they're here to do and activate their true potential in life. So when it comes to light work and being a spiritual practitioner, I may have a spiritual channel online, however 99.99% of my healing work and my spiritual work is offline. So I help people in the community, I organise campaigns, I do energy healing, I teach people, like lobbying to, you know, have pedophiles removed from power in different industries, and working with the ladies when these two and gentlemen in different groups to have these, you know, 100-year, 99-year suppression orders lifted. What we're finding is that when justice fails to take place in courts of law, then the people at a grassroots level, they take justice into their own hands in an ethical fashion. So with the example, the case study of the 28, 29 pedophiles, high-profile pedophiles in Australia who are sitting in public office in different industries, what we're finding is that most of them are stepping down from their high positions in society. They're being forced to step down. If they don't step down, then the industry bodies make them step down. And this is coming from people power, just people talking quietly behind the scenes. The change takes place because no one wants to see perpetrators of child sex abuse who haven't been charged or jailed because of their positions in high office continuing to occupy those roles, moving forward into the Aquarian age. What this means is victims of crime and campaigners and lobbyists and light workers have now flipped the script, and now the victims hold all the power. And you can see this playing out across the world. Even with situations of sex abusers, they're now being they're being blacklisted and forced to step down and denied employment, whereas previously it was the victims of child sex abuse or the victims of sexual abuse were denied employment and driven out of society. So the whole script has been flipped back in favour of victims of crime. Also, what we've done over the last few months is we've removed a lot of the black magic and obstruction energies that were put in place from the 24th of October to around the 28th, 30th, 31st or something of November of October 2019. Happened at the Carlton Ridge Hotel in Melbourne in late October 2019, and that brought in the dark forces into Australia and resulted in people's life force being ripped off them. In many cases, people died across the earth. So those satanic rituals and curses that were created during that period of time by certain people, 5 or 7 people in Melbourne, they've been transmitted into light. They no longer hold any power, and all of the abuse that has occurred as a result of those satanic rituals has been completely nullified. Also, the satanic rituals created by different groups such as the Freemasons and different covens of witches based in Australia and the Philippines, India, Germany, Greece, Italy, what have you, that has been wiped out, particularly that began in 2018, 2020, that enabled this virus to take hold and sweep across the earth. How spiritual practices work is whatever happens in the etheric realms has a tendency to manifest in the physical realms. So this virus, of course, we know was created in the lab, possibly in China, possibly elsewhere, and it spread across the world. However, it was fortified by black magic. So that black magic has been rendered useless, and this is why we said on this channel in recent months that the virus will be starting to wipe out across the earth by the end of 2021, and this is starting to take shape. It is already happening. In point of fact, 2022 is going to be a fabulous year for most people on earth, unless you're one of those people that have unfortunately been practicing black magic on a regular basis. Then life, you'll still be dealing with karma from your actions in this life. But for the rest of humanity, 2022 will be a great year. Fine year to a fantastic year for some. One has to be mindful of different artificial intelligence program running in the background, being picked up by light workers in Canada, USA and England particularly. And you'll know the fruit from the tree, as these light workers that have big followings, their predictions are often wrong, consistently wrong, and they spread misinformation to their followers. So this is something one must be mindful of and practice the art of discernment to know who's telling the truth and what is the right truth for you to listen to. In relation to mainstream media, they have their own opinions, which they're entitled to. They have their own agendas, which they always have. They're paid by different lobbyists and different groups around the world, which they're entitled to receive. Going to listen to them, supplement it with alternative forms of information that give you more holistic and broader understanding of what's going on in the world, and that will answer your questions. In relation to the curses that have been broken during these portals in 8/8, 11/11, 12/12 in 2021, the curses that have been broken relate to the Freemasons, which they're not really that powerful. They weren't putting out most of the curses. Most of the curses were coming from a coven of witches based in Melbourne, Australia, and Philippines, India, Greece, Italy, and Germany. Other curses that were broken related to child sex abuse and generational karma and trauma related to child sex abuse, and some other more powerful curses that were related to the Aborigines, the indigenous mobs of Australia that were killed and tortured when the British soldiers came out and sailors came out to Australia and massacred them in the 17 and 1800s. Now, in relation to people who have been damaged by putting chemical solutions into their bodies, different light workers and natural therapists and alternative therapists and different healers of different prescriptions across the earth have been creating new healing modalities and testing on people and animals across the earth humanely to remove the toxic substances from the bodies of these people so that they can come back to proper health, full health, good health. There's plenty of information out there on the internet about this. This is not what really this channel is about. I might put some links to that over the coming weeks so you can find this information to help you guide and detox your body safely and slowly and bring you back to optimal health. So if you have been damaged by putting certain chemicals in your body, just know that this damage can be undone. It may take time, however it can be undone. And this is also why we need more earth angels and light workers out there studying these healing disciplines, because over the next 5 years, more and more people I see, particularly in Australia, but this will probably be mirrored across different continents across the earth, are going to be moving back to natural therapies and alternative therapies because they've found that mainstream medicine perhaps isn't not for them anymore. And everyone I speak to thousands of people every month, and they're all expressing a desire to get off pharmaceutical medications and move to natural therapies and eat cleaner, healthier food, exercise more, meditate more, and connect more to nature. So they're listening to their intuition, which is guiding them to move to nature and more natural therapies, as opposed to Western medicine, which is a model for the Piscean Age. Aquarian Age is connected to Mother Earth and healing natural therapies and alternative medicine and new energetic medicines that are coming into play over the next 100, 200 years. What we've also noticed, the protest movement, also different spiritual groups and healing groups that I've been helping. I'm hearing lots of stories of suicidal people who have experienced constant lockdowns. They have lost their jobs, they've lost their homes, they've lost their marriages, lost access to their kids, lost their cars, lost hope, lost faith in the medical system, are damaged from the chemical solutions they put in their body, seen suicide clusters in different parts of Victoria and Australia, which is concerning, and this has been picked up by the mainstream media, who have noted it as well, and also by the coroner, who's noted it as well. So I was asking a lot of questions to understand what's going on, and I'm finding in some cases these people are taking herbal, I don't know what you call them, duries or smoke. These herbal solutions appear to be laced with something that is not natural. So I would encourage anyone in Victoria, Australia, and I know the people that are manufacturing these herbal smoke, they are connected with drug cartels. So we're trying to investigate what they're putting into these smokes, which is causing these suicide clusters. But if you know anyone that takes these herbal smokes, I would strongly encourage them to stop doing it, because it's causing death after death after death. Some of the suicides are just related to a sense of hopelessness and depression because of the lockdown. So I would strongly encourage different governments across the world to not lock down societies, because it doesn't work. It causes more harm than what it actually purports to heal. Now, also with the activation of different chakras, so with the global protest movement across different cities, which is covered on social media a lot, maybe you don't hear about it in the mainstream media so much, and then they downplay the numbers. But what that is about is activating one's throat chakra and removing the repression of the throat chakra, standing up for one's rights, the right to work, the right to have housing, and so on and so on. And by activating one's throat chakra, your corresponding chakra is your sacral chakra. So that activates, cleanses and heals the sacral chakra, and the outcome is creativity in one life. So whether that will be through creative arts projects or song or dance or painting, drawing on the computer, whatever it be. And also healing the ancestral wounds and the wounds in the family from generational child sex abuse. So that's what's going on with the protest movement. Part of what's going on with the protest movement is activating the throat chakra and the corresponding sacral chakras. That's why you see lots of protesters walk around talking about the pedophiles and getting justice for the harm that the pedophiles have caused. Unless we as a society help heal and give closure and healing and financial compensation and justice to the victims of these pedophile crimes, child sex abuse crimes and sexual abuse crimes, then we as a society cannot move on. So we're all in this together. That's why it's important, if you work in the justice system or in the policing system, you take these matters seriously and help bring justice, healing and closure to these people, because you also bring it into your own family life and into your own ancestral lines and to your bloodlines and to your local communities, your local state and country, and they'll have positive flow and effects to everyone's life. This is the year of Aquarian age. It's all about community. We're all in it together. So when you heal one person, you heal yourself and your family, you heal everyone in the community and your country and across the world eventually. What we're moving on from activating throat and sacral chakras is we're moving into activating Ajna and base chakras 2022, January 2022 onwards, and that's all about healing Mother Earth, getting out there and doing cleaning up jobs and cleaning the waterways and cleaning up the river systems and the oceans and the parkways and the forests and bushland in every country of Mother Earth. It's also about activating Ajna, developing new skills, learning new skills, studying and focusing to create something new moving forward, and also healing the physical body, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the circulatory system, the reproductive system, the nervous system, cardiovascular system and so on, that have been damaged by the chemical solutions that have been consumed in recent years. And there's also a lot of focus on activating the heart and the crown. We're doing that with 1111 and 1212 portal activations. So what we've done is we've brought down from the Grand Central System, with assistance from Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Ariel, Archangel Ariel's lines, which are the gatekeepers of this portal for the next 2,137 years. So we've brought down the platinum energy, the golden energy and the silver energy through all the soul star chakra and into sitting in the crown chakra, and it goes through all the chakra systems, physical body, mental body, astral and etheric body, activating, aligning, energizing all of them. So every person on earth has access to this energy. It is supplanted and concretized into Mother Earth in Melbourne, Australia for the next 2,137 years. So this is an immovable and impenetrable force, and it gets stronger every day. It's guarded by the spiritual hierarchy and the two lions, Archangel Ariel's lions, that are the gatekeepers of this portal for the next 2,137 years. If you seek this healing, just ask your higher soul to download the gold, silver and platinum energy into your crown chakra. That will open up your crown chakra, and ask them to bring down and align and energize all your chakra systems, and that will stabilize that energy into your physical, mental, astral and etheric body. You can do that on a regular basis, and that will help re-energize you and bring you in line to the Aquarian energies over the coming centuries. So there's a lot of talk about the Nazis. Why there's so much talk about the Nazis, particularly coming out of Melbourne, Australia, is history has a cycle of repeating itself. So we're repeating the cycles from September 11, 2001, and the cycle from World War II. And these are astrological cycles as well, and conflict cycles. So all the conflict energy related to these cycles has been completely transmuted to light and no longer exists. If you can read, scan energy, if you're clairvoyant, you can scan it, it's gone, completely disseminated, it's just been blasted into oblivion, no longer exists. So those conflict energies don't exist, so that cycle can no longer repeat itself. We've shifted the energy from fear and negative lower energies into a peace, love and harmony cycle for the next 2,137 years, purely because I was fed up with it. Everyone else was fed up with all the conflict, the attacking other people, black and white, and Muslim against Christian, and vaxxed against unvaxxed. Everyone has had enough of it. It's been blasted into oblivion, and that energy should drift out across every part of the earth over the coming months. The mistakes from World War II, what has happened, and I've seen this for 21 odd years, and I've been talking about it to thousands of people, spiritual practitioners in Melbourne over that time, is a lot of people that were from Britain and Germany, Italy, Belgium, France, from World War II, Turkey. They reincarnated and they have either travelled to Melbourne, Australia, or they've reincarnated as Australian citizens, and they've had to play out their karma from World War II. A lot of people that were soldiers, airmen, sailors during that period on both sides of the fence, the Allied forces and the Nazis and their associates, they have had to reincarnate back into Australia or come to Australia, and they now work in the medical field, the health field, or as spiritual healers or alternative therapists to repay back their karmic debt for killing people, harming people on the killing fields during World War II and also World War I. So that karma has now been repaid for every person, and you'll find that a lot of people that work in the health and medical fields between now 2021 and 2025, they will just move into other fields or work into other areas of health or medicine because their karmic debt has been repaid from the mistakes they made in past lives. So that's what's going on. That's why so many people talk about the Nazis, and they walk around with protest placards talking about the Nazis. Australia as a society, particularly Victorians as a society, had to learn the lesson, the mistakes that were made, the Nazis made in past life. And those mistakes have been playing out in Victoria over the last 20 years about testing pharmaceutical drugs on people, particularly vulnerable people, homeless people, Indigenous people, people with mental health problems, disabled people. Those mistakes are being learned, and those mistakes will no longer be repeated moving forward because humanity as a whole has realised how much damage is caused when you consume these drugs and you're forced to consume them against your will with government mandates. So that was the main lesson of the last 2 years, is you need to stand up for everyone in society, otherwise who are forced to consume these dangerous drugs. Otherwise, you will be given those dangerous drugs and forced to consume them, and so will your children. That was the lesson. So once you learn the lesson, you teach it on to everyone else, and then everyone learns the lesson, we can move on as a society. So I've been speaking with a lot of Australian Indigenous elders, and they prefer to be called Aborigines now. We've agreed that now is the time, as in 2021, is a time for unity and healing the past mistakes of the British when they colonised Australia and slaughtered and massacred many of the Aborigines, stole their cultures and put them into missionaries, and a lot of them still live today in the missionaries in the land, and they don't have, a lot of the elders and the older people, the older folk don't have access to the wealth, the opportunities, and they never had the schooling that the younger folk do have. Whereas a lot of the elders have also trained up many of Indigenous leaders, emerging leaders, and they're now teaching, black fellas and white people alike about respecting the land and going back to country and respecting the animals and what have you. A lot of those mistakes and lessons from the past have been learnt, and there is this unity consciousness, and a lot of the elders and the emerging leaders, they're all about bringing unity back between black and white, and between the British and the Australian and the Aborigines, and the white folk. That's something positive that has radically shifted in the past year. As I mentioned earlier, the 1111 portal, a grand pillar of light was activated in Melbourne, Australia, and that is transmitting out the healing codes, the light codes, to activate your light body to every light work across the planet that is karmically entitled to receive that. All you have to do is focus on your heart center, focus on your crown center, ask your higher soul to download those light codes for you. You don't have to belong to any group or any religion. Anyone has access to that at any point in time for the next 2,137 years. This process is assisting a global awakening, and it's shifting the lower energy frequencies here on Mother Earth into positive light and peace, harmony and joy. Also, the Indigenous elders have been doing a lot of work to heal the song lines, which is the crystal grids and the ley lines across Mother Earth, and that's come from the Indigenous elders here in Australia. And it's helping bring people back together in unity consciousness. So they're trying to achieve the same thing as the spiritual groups. They're just using their terminology based on their culture and their history. So there's some other issues that are relevant for this period is being mindful of discernment, practicing discernment, and being careful where you get your information from, because there's a lot of misinformation floating around in the mainstream media and social media and just generally around everywhere in the world. And that misinformation has been designed to distract and mislead and deceive people. In some cases, it's just people putting out bullshit information because they don't know any better, or because they believe that that's true, or they're basing it on assumptions of false information, and they're not checking the facts, and they're not validating the information that they're getting. So it's up to you, it's up to every single person to validate, double check, triple check, quadruple check the information that you're getting. Sit on it, don't publish it unless you know it's the truth, and you get confirmation from your higher soul and your guides that it is actually the truth. Also, another thing that's going on is, and this is prevalent in the Matrix series of films, is that with these portals that open in 8/8, 11/11, 12/12 here in Melbourne, Australia, which have been opened for everyone on the earth to utilise for the good of humanity and to help themselves, heal themselves and their families and humanity, is you do have the ability now to download energetic programs to help you become an expert in your field. So if you are into, say, knitting or crocheting, you can download programs to help you become a better knitter or crocheter. If you're into watercolour painting, you can download programs to help you refine, improve your skills to the best of your ability in this life. The same with, say, running or dancing or mathematics, geometry, algebra, whatever it is. If you want to learn Italian or Arabic languages, you can download those programs from your higher soul, and that will help you improve your skills in that domain. So you can do that if you're karmically entitled to those gifts, and obviously the more time and energy you put into developing your skills and gifts, the better you'll come over time. So it's something that takes months, years to practice. There's a caveat on that. If you attempt to steal other people's skills or talents or gifts or energy, then this is considered a psychic attack and black magic, and it will result in near instant negative karma, and that negative karma generally manifests as an accident. You could lose your job, you could lose your house, your car, you could lose your life. You definitely lose your sanity. You might lose family members, people close to you. You might lose your reputation, and you'll almost certainly lose your physical health for a period of time, if not forever. People that continually engage in black magic, they do have a tendency to go insane, and they do have a tendency to have mental health problems such as schizophrenia and personality disorders, and they do have a tendency to become lost souls. They literally lose their soul. They walk around earth a lost soul, doing crazy things, to become spiritual bullies and psychopaths and what have you. No one wants to be around those types of people. No one wants to be around toxic drama queens who cause chaos and disorder on earth and destroy everything they touch. I've healed many of these people, hundreds of these people, and I've come across many of them in the spiritual schools who continuously practice black magic, energy harvesting, energy vampirism with sex and with spiritual practitioners in spiritual groups. They don't last. They always fall. So the moral of that story is, don't steal what doesn't belong to you. So one of the new rules of the Aquarian Age is people who consistently engage in psychic attacks and energy harvesting and energy vampirism and black magic, they will meet with premature death. This is something that has been agreed upon with the spiritual hierarchy. It's overseen by Archangel Michael. If you continuously engage in black magic practices or energy harvesting practices, you're given several warnings, told to stop, and then you either have serious health problems or you'll be removed from Mother Earth. And I'm hearing from spiritual practices across the earth that this is happening as quickly as within 8 hours. They're seeing people being rushed to hospital with heart attacks and strokes who consistently practice black magic. It's true that some of the people who are committing serious black magic rituals on a regular basis will be kept alive for the rest of 2022 only because they have to be brought before the judge, told the truth about their criminal activity. So what I've noticed with the thousands of people that I've healed, energetic healings to over the last several decades, is that people who regularly engage in black magic or energy harvesting, they're always engaging in serious criminal activity in physical planes on Mother Earth. I'm not going to go into details, but serious means as in indictable crimes. They can go to jail for decades. So those people are going to be given an opportunity to tell the truth to the judges and the police who they've made false statements to in the past, tell the truth about their involvement in crimes and to rat out their criminal associates. If they don't, they'll be removed from the earth plane. And I've been shown by the spiritual hierarchy where they're being sent. It is another realm, a multi-dimensional realm in another galaxy, solar system. Some of them are being sent there. It's like a karmic slammer for tens of thousands of years, others for hundreds of thousands of years, and some of them it's for 50 or 100 million years. So they won't be reincarnating back onto Mother Earth anytime soon. They miss out on the Aquarian Age, they miss out on the Golden Age, they miss out on the precision of the equinoxes over the next 26,000 years. And they have a lot of time in a karmic slammer in some terrible place of who knows where it is to reflect on their mistakes during this life. So don't do black magic. There's severe karmic repercussions and they're now in play. The rules of the game have changed and you want to play by those rules from here on in. The karmic rebound effects of black magic is overseen by the spiritual hierarchy. They determine the karma that each person that engages in those abuses of power. So don't do it. Even if you're a spiritual master, I've been told that the spiritual masters are being engaged in black magic on a regular basis. Previously it was 3 lifetimes of bad karma. It's been upgraded to 13 lifetimes for a spiritual master, 11 lifetimes for a spiritual teacher. That includes all teachers on the internet who have spiritual channels, and 8 lifetimes for a normal human being. So that's 1,000 years for a spiritual master who engages in black magic, and it's a long time. 1,000 years of bad luck for a spiritual master who engages in black magic. So the spiritual power across Mother Earth just shifted in recent months from the different spiritual schools to a spiritual group based in Melbourne, Australia. Has no affiliations with any people in spiritual schools in Vienna or Philippines, India, Texas or California or Greece or Germany. People involved in this spiritual group are all of integrity. They have no spiritual ego. They're just light workers and guardians of the light who hold the light to bring peace, healing, dignity and harmony and prosperity to every person and every being on earth. Key is freedom. Bring freedom to every person, every being on earth. So go back to the love vibes that are replacing the fear vibes and the viruses that are spreading the earth. So we transmitted the fear energies that are unleashed on the populace and manifest as autoimmune diseases and tuberculosis, heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, sudden death, shingles, Bell's palsy, all these types of problems. What we have noted is a lot of the doctors and hospitals are misdiagnosing and mistreating people with this old fear-based virus. What we have noted is if you consume corticosteroid and a blood thinner and a paracetamol, the chances of survival are closer to 99.99%. This is something that needs to be remedied in the hospitals ASAP because they seem to be misdiagnosing and misunderstanding this virus that's spreading across the earth. It does teach you to breathe differently and to survive in a different fashion, but if you want to knock it out, you need to get rid of the inflammation that is in the internal organs, in the heart, the lungs and all the internal organs, and corticosteroids we found is the best way to survive, and that's what I took when I caught the virus, and it worked for me. And if you listen to Louise Hay or Dr. John Demartini, they claim that lung issues are related to stored grief and trauma and lack of joy in life. So obviously if you put people in lockdowns and isolation in their homes and they have a lack of structured and competitive exercise or a lack of work and no social networks and no family interactions, then that contributes towards grief. So you want to focus on activating joy and happiness and good health by getting outside, and that is done through releasing people from home lockdowns and hotel lockdowns into their communities to connect with nature and eating clean, healthy food, exercising where they can, taking vitamins and if need be, different medications in concert with their treating medical practitioners and pharmacists. As we mentioned in recent months, it was always my opinion that this virus would end by 2021. It appears to be dying out across the earth, and this new Omicron virus seems to be creating a super immune response to wipe out all the old programs from the Piscean age in the human ecological systems and upgrade humanity to activate their golden body and their diamond body in the etheric realms. So this is what every yogi and spiritual practitioner aspires to achieve when they're on the spiritual path. If you don't want to be part of these spiritual upgrades, or you don't consent to this process, then just tell the universe, the higher soul of the spiritual hierarchy, you do not consent, and you'll stay within your old human body system for the rest of your lifespan here on earth. So just to recap, the 8-8 portal was created to activate the gifts of all human beings and light workers who are ready to step up and act as earth angels during the shift of the ages. And everyone's spiritual gifts are unique and tailored to their individual needs, and it's based on past life experiences, training and previous incarnations. Other key thing to remember is to practice the golden rule, to treat people with love and kindness and respect the same way you expect to be treated, and you'll be fine during this transitional period. And to help people out where you can, and send peace, love and light to everyone that you come across where you can. With what we have noticed, or what I've particularly noticed over the last 20 odd years, is that when you send peace, love and light to people who have psychopathic tendencies or who are dictators, it doesn't tend to work. They absorb that because they're energy vampires. So I found what works is to send them forgiveness, light and understanding. That appears to work, and they seem to change their bad ways. So that's something to consider. But this process does take time. It doesn't happen in one healing. By healing the relationships with different people, you heal parts of yourself and your ancestral lineage, your bloodlines, your past life lineage, and also heal the collective. So you think global, but you act local. So heal yourself first, your family, your local community, your region, state, and country, and then you spread peace, love and light towards the world's people and animals and all sentient beings on Mother Earth and Mother Earth. And Mother Earth will rapidly transform in a positive fashion, and the karmic issues that the global collective experienced in the last few years will be transmitted into light, and in a year or two's time these challenging life lessons will just be, a distant memory. Some people ask, how did these issues transpire in recent years? And there was some abuse of power in 2018 with black magic in Melbourne, coming out of Melbourne and the Philippines. And there was a lot of black magic in October 2019 at a spiritual conference in Melbourne. So what transpired were there's some female prostitutes that have severe mental health problems and are part of the mafia, and they do have demons. I know this because I was healing them for many years in 2006 and 2007. And these demons cause them to commit serious crimes. And these prostitutes used love spells and glamour spells and sex spells and God knows whatever else spells on different spiritual masters across the planet, stole the spiritual masters' energy and their spiritual gifts, and performed tantric sex rituals with these spiritual masters. In the process, some of the demons that were possessed by the prostitutes, they enacted tears in the space-time fabric, so that those tears in those timelines where these tantric sexual acts took place allow chaos, energy and disorder to weigh supreme and infiltrate the planet. Now the only reason that there were a confluence of factors, and it can't ever possibly happen again on Earth, because it was conducted during the Capricorn-Saturn-Pleasure conjunction around late October. So those astrological alignments will never be repeated, not for another 500 or 2,000 years, some cycle. They can't do these acts again. It was just they took advantage of an astrological alignment, and they took advantage of a spiritual commons where there's a lot of spiritual energy. They took advantage of a spiritual master through black magic and misused satanic forces combined with the demonic forces and galactical forces that the spiritual master was aligned with. It all combined through a confluence of unfortunate events that opened the space-time fabric and that allowed these lower energies to infiltrate planet Earth, and it's caused basically the lunatics to run the asylum. So that's what happened, and it's your choice whether you believe it or not. If you put 1,000 people on the stand in a court of law in 2022 and asked what caused the events in recent years, everyone will have a different explanation. That's one explanation from a spiritual perspective. There are other explanations that deal with China, that deal with laboratories, that deal with pharmaceutical companies, and so on and so on. So there are many explanations. That's one explanation from a spiritual perspective about how did these lower energies able to infiltrate our timelines and cause this chaos and disorder energy across the earth. The good news is that chaos eventually comes back into order and harmony and balance is being restored. We've already planted the pillar of light for the next 2,137 years, and that's guarded by the spiritual hierarchy. It can't be undone. And it's sending out streams of light and healing energy to everyone that wants it across the earth, and more people will become aware of this. They can bring that pillar of light into their physical being and hold it as long as they can, and be transmitters of the light everywhere they go, and this healing will take place across the earth. So the damage done can be undone, and it is in the process of being undone. The opening of these portals and the black magic spells, they're against astral laws, they're against spiritual laws and universal laws, and they're against the laws of the spiritual schools. There are severe karmic repercussions for the people that perform these rituals. They're being removed from the earth plane for over 100 million years, one person, the other one 50 million years, and the spiritual master involved in the tantric rituals, who I will not name publicly, he is paying a very heavy price, even though he's not publicly admitting it, for his actions. But he's lost all of his power as well, which is obvious to anyone who knows him. And he's lost all of his spiritual gifts as well. So looking forward into 2025, I see, particularly in Australia, the collapse of the medical system and the Western health system. People across Australia have lost faith in the medical system due to government manipulation and government mandates and forced vaccines and mistakes in the hospital system and being ignored by their medical doctors. When I look into 2025, I see this resplendent golden light bouncing off the ocean waves when I'm walking along the beach, and there's the ocean and the sand and the trees and all of nature, all the plants and the animals, they have this golden sparkles of light, like sparkling everywhere. So it's completely different energies, like golden resplendent. The whole Mother Earth is covered in this golden resplendent light, which is sparkly. You know, all the animals, the butterflies, the rivers, the fish are all sparkly and gold. It's quite different from the energy of 2020 and 2021. So things are improving on the up and up. And in the future, I see the global collective over the coming years will have a great appreciation and respect for Mother Earth and all sentient beings, because they realise they're starting to wake up and realise we're all one. We're all connected. And different societies and groups of people across Mother Earth will live in peace and move away from harmful chemicals and pesticides that are used in agriculture that flow into the waterways and ruin Mother Earth. And a lot of people across the earth will cease consuming harmful pharmaceuticals and pesticides and fertilizers in their food. They're more shifting towards natural solutions. The agricultural supply chain will be completely overhauled and transformed with ancient practices that have been used for hundreds of thousands of years on Mother Earth by different cultures and tribes, and even by spiritual groups on Earth at the moment. And that will result in healthy crops and that are full of nutrition, like healthy, nutritious food. So you have a need to eat less food, and the human body will become much slimmer, more streamlined, slimmer, more athletic, much healthier. We won't be so much overweight as a society, and we won't have hardly any health problems moving into the future, and less mental health problems as a society. So we're also looking forward into the future. There'll be radical overhauls of the educational systems that are so outdated. There'll be technology upgrades based on informed consent embedded with ethics related to artificial intelligence, and the technologies will be more sustainable and based on user-centered design, human-centered design, what humanity needs, not what Silicon Valley or technology companies want to push out to society. We'll have enhanced cultural experiences related connection to Mother Earth and with all sentient beings and respect for all living beings, very much in line with what Indigenous cultures across in South America and North America, Australia, and Finland, all the different ancient cultures in China, the world, India practice. In relation to global systems of government, we won't have so much one leader per state, region or nation. It'll be more like a group of leaders, of elected leaders, and we're seeing this for decades now. It's more horizontal matrix style organisation with a whole band of leaders across the top, and it's more related to ethics and engaging with community, engaging with grassroots and human-centred design, and using heart-centred and user-centred solutions that benefit the collective that they represent. So in mid-22, or even towards the end of 22, I see representatives from every group across the earth, different age groups, religions, faiths, sects and regions come together to collectively resolve how the issues of 2019 to 2021 have been handled, and so they can put forward solutions to ensure that the mistakes made in the last few years never happen again. And we've mentioned that Christ consciousness has returned to Earth, and it's centred in Melbourne, Australia for the next 2,137 years. So this is a beacon of light for the period of the Aquarian Age, and this pillar of light is guided by the spiritual hierarchy. It radiates light, love, peace, harmony to all people and all sentient beings across the earth. And the gold, silver and platinum light codes also radiate to every person, every being across the world who seek to upgrade their light bodies. They can access this program at any time of day. They just have to ask their higher soul for assistance. So this beacon of light, this pillar of light acts like a cell phone tower, and it radiates these healing frequencies across Mother Earth to all people, all beings. And it's there to assist humanity to upgrade their systems and their frequencies. And it also activates the crown chakra, the stellar gateway, and the higher soul. And it's a very powerful portal for being supplanted to Mother Earth, related to Lemurian Age times on Lemurian Age land, which is Australia. It's overseen by Archangel Ariel, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, and the Ariel Lion Guides, the guardian angels from the Regulus and the Sirius star systems. So their job is to oversee the transition during this Aquarian Age. And if you're quite sensitive, you'll find that they come and visit spiritual practitioners during their meditation experiences. So this is the messages that they have. These powerful forces oversee the Earth's transition during the next Aquarian Age period of 2,137 odd years. And there are guardians of light that are protecting and overseeing this process as well. So only people of goodwill and good intent can enter into this light domain, and those people have been chosen by the light. So if you wish to access the portal, just go to your crown chakra, your higher soul, and ask to download the gold, silver and platinum energy into your crown chakra. Ask that then to balance, align and energize all of your chakras and your physical, mental, astral, etheric body. Stabilize that energy. Thank the guardians of light, thank the pillar of light and all the archangels in the spiritual hierarchy for their assistance. And then bless Mother Earth and all the people and beings with this energy, beautiful energy. And this helps stabilize your mental body, your astral body, all your emotions, and your physical body. Heals your physical body as well. In relation to rubbish that's being mentioned in the media and some social media channels, do not listen to the rubbish. They're talking about numbers and viruses. It's all fake. The truth eventually will come out. These people have an agenda, so just respect that they're playing out their agenda, and that's not the truth that they carry on with. Also, I've been asked to talk this year about Afghanistan. So the spiritual hierarchy have cheekily embedded leading singers and dancers from the past 500 years into the Taliban troops. So don't be surprised if you see segments of the Taliban over the coming years in the next decade break out into song and dance while on the job. So over the next 10 to 20 years, Afghanistan is karmically entitled to become a major global player in the commerce arena. So they'll specialise in creating beautiful textiles, have a forward fashion. They'll participate in agriculture, mining new minerals, and creating new forms of entertainment that are similar to India and their Bollywood scene, but they'll do it Afghani style. Don't listen to the mainstream media saying that they're interested in fighting. No, they're changing, they're evolving and upgraded like every other person on the planet, and they have a karmic right to achieve their full potential, and they will succeed over the coming decades, and they will be a leading force in the global arena over the coming decades. So if you do work in media, start publishing the truth in a more positive fashion and be open to change. Over the next few years, I'll be traveling across the earth to work with different spiritual groups of goodwill and teach them to activate their light bodies and ascend and achieve their full potential in life, and showing them how to safely download the spiritual gifts to become superhumans and achieve great potential, enormous potential in this lifetime, while also concurrently healing Mother Earth and their local communities, and to usher in a period of peace, harmony, prosperity and goodwill. So I'll post more details of these events over the coming months, and you can register your interest. Thank you for listening to this Earth Goodwill posting. So thank you also for liking and subscribing. If you enjoy this content, namaste and peace, love and light to you all.